You guys have probably noticed that laser engraved tumblers are not going away. So if you're in the market for a new laser, probably one of your first questions is, can it engrave like this? This is the xTool M2. I've been using it for a little while. They sent me one to try out, and one of my first projects was to engrave this tumbler. So watch this video. You're gonna see how I get all of these images in here, how I make it do a full wrap, and how to get everything set up so it will engrave in my M2. When you are unboxing this for the first time, make sure that you keep all of the parts and pieces together so that you always have what you need for whatever you're engraving. First, you're going to find the cable and insert the pin end into the back of the rotary attachment like this. Find these two flat spacers. This is going to help position the rotary attachment correctly and make sure that it doesn't move while it's engraving. They're even labeled with L and R for left and right, so you know exactly where they go. There are several options for securing your tumbler to the rotary tool. Choose the one that works the best for the shape and the size of the tumbler that you're using. For this project, I'm using the extended jaw with inner grip. So the jaw pieces are going to go inside and then tighten outwards to hold onto it. The rotary attachment box also includes a rolling stabilizer. It helps support the end or the middle of your item so that it stays level during the engraving process. Slide it into the tracks from the left and use this little knob here to tighten it down. We also need to change the direction of the laser module. So you're going to unplug the laser, pull it gently away from the magnets. Then you're going to put the horizontal attachment piece. It just connects with the same magnets, and then replace the laser module in the horizontal position and plug it back in. You'll also get a little shield that you can place over the top. The lid of the xTool M2 does protect your eyes, but this is just another layer of protection. Then connect the other end to the appropriate port on the right side of the laser towards the back by the power cord. Tuck the cord under the little plastic tabs so that the lid can still close completely. For my design, I created it in Canva, and the first thing I did was measure the circumference of the tumbler. So all the way around from one side to the other, and that measurement became the width of the design area I could use. I also measured the flat portion of the tumbler down the side, and this is now the height of my usable design area. I kind of like the idea of a mystical look, and so I used pictures like this moon and butterflies, kind of celestial designs, but I also wanted the tumbler to include things that were specifically meaningful to me. So I found pictures in Canva and Creative Fabrica, along with a few designs that I drew myself. Once the design was finished, I exported it as a single PNG. Then I brought that PNG back into Canva and increased the shadows and contrast of the overall image so that it would be as dark as possible and engrave well. And then I exported as a final PNG. Now moving to xTool Studio, I imported the design and connected my M2 machine. Go to the processing mode and change it to use the rotary attachment. Then rotate the design 90 degrees so it's lined up correctly with the tumbler. I like to use the materials library to get a base for the power and speed settings. So I picked this yellow water bottle. From the drop-down menu, select the jaw type that you use to secure the tumbler to the rotary attachment. Then I did have to go in and change the diameter of my tumbler because here it uses the preloaded size for their tumbler. So my diameter is 3.5 inches. I aligned the image here and checked carefully to make sure that the design stayed within the usable area of the tumbler and didn't extend over the top or bottom edges or dotted lines that you see here on the screen. Just set the distance by doing a manual or auto measuring, and you can follow the prompts in xTool Studio and it will measure this for you. So then here are the specific settings I used for engraving a tumbler with my M2. Power set to 50%, speed set to 100 millimeters per second, one pass, and I changed it to bidirectional. The default will be unidirectional. It gives a slightly more even engrave and what shows up on kind of the stainless steel underneath. but I changed this because the original engrave time was going to be over 5 hours. Since it is this full wrap design with bidirectional, it will laser as it turns in both directions. So the engrave time gets cut to just over 2.5 hours. Click process in the software, then start, and then push the button on the machine. The laser will slowly move from left to right as it engraves each line of the design. And the rotary attachment does the faster work of rotating the tumbler to bring the next section of the design into the right position. As you can see here, the laser is removing the powder coating and exposing the metal underneath, and it's going to create smoke and this black residue, and it can make the whole thing look kind of dirty, but don't worry about it. It's not ruined. We're going to clean it off when it's all done. When it is finished engraving, you're going to open up the lid, remove the tumbler from the chuck of the rotary like this. Now we head to the sink for cleaning. I'm using this LA's Totally Awesome cleaner. You can find it at the dollar store. And I sprayed it in the sink and let it sit for about a minute. You can also use Dawn Power Wash, but it is more expensive. So after letting that sit, I rinsed it and then sprayed it again and used a microfiber cloth to remove the smoke and the residue from the surface of the tumbler. This is when the silver really starts to show up underneath, and then make sure you give it a really good wash and rinsing before actually using the tumbler. Now I want to give you a close-up and show you some of the things that I included here that represent something. So we've got a crystal for the gem state, Idaho, where I grew up. And other states we've lived, I've got a palm branch for California, pine branches for Oregon and Washington, and a little bee and honeycomb design for Utah. Then I've also got places or states that we visited, like Niagara Falls, the Golden Gate Bridge, a little sea turtle for Hawaii, Washington Monument and Statue of Liberty, and then some buildings from cities that I've been to in Portugal and Spain, like Sintra, Toledo, and Segovia. I also put the Cape Verde Islands on here. Did you recently learn about this country because of the World Cup? I actually lived there for a year when I was 21. I've got a maple leaf for Canada, a little doodle of the Eiffel Tower, a Scorpio constellation, a lotus flower because my dad called me Lotus Blossom when I was little, and then I put a Gerber daisy because it was the first flower my husband gave me, and I've got something for my dog and cats on here too. So I love that the tumbler is more than just a pretty design. It has a collection of little places that I've been and things that I love, and I'm really, really pleased with how it all turned out. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I would love to hear if you've been to any of the places that I put on my tumbler. See you next time.